you ever wondered how Rome became one of the greatest empires in history? It wasn't just through military might, but through the brilliant minds ahead of their time. Innovative strategies, unimaginable tactics, and generals with extraordinary skill were the true masterminds behind Rome's rise. These commanders didn't just expand the empire through epic battles, they forever changed the course of history, conquering new provinces and ensuring Roman dominance for centuries. In this video, we'll reveal the 10 most legendary generals of Rome and the feats that made them immortal. Get ready to discover how their victories shaped the world we know today. Subscribe to the channel and receive more epic stories like this. Publius Cornelius Scipio Africanus, known as Scipio, was one of the greatest generals in Roman history and played a crucial role in the defeat of Carthage during the Second Punic War, 218 to 201 BC. Born in 236 BC, he was part of a prominent family in the Roman aristocracy with a solid military background. His career stood out in the fight against the Carthaginian general Hannibal, who had inflicted devastating defeats on the Romans, including the famous Battle of Cannae. In 211 BC, Scipio took command of the Roman forces in Hispania, where he faced the Carthaginian army. His victory at the Battle of Baecula, 208 BC, was a turning point, allowing Rome to begin regaining control of the Iberian Peninsula. From that point on, Scipio was recognized as one of Rome's leading military commanders. However, his most notable achievement was the Battle of Zama in 202 BC, where he faced Hannibal in a decisive confrontation that sealed Carthage's fate. Despite being outnumbered and commanding a modest army, Scipio used his military cunning to neutralize Hannibal's advantage, which included veteran troops and 80 war elephants. Scipio arranged his troops in vertical columns, set traps, and used trumpets to frighten the elephants, causing Hannibal's strategy to fail. The Roman victory was overwhelming and forced Carthage to sign a surrender treaty, ending the war and securing Roman control of the western Mediterranean. After his victory, Scipio was celebrated in Rome, receiving the title Africanus and becoming a national hero. However, his political career became marked by internal conflicts, and he withdrew from public life, passing away in 183 BC. His victory at Zama and his contribution to the empire's expansion secured Rome a prominent place in the ancient world, and his legacy as a strategist and military leader endures today as a shining example of military brilliance. Gaius Marius, 157 to 86 BC, was one of the greatest generals and politicians of ancient Rome, whose military reforms and achievements changed the course of Roman history. Born into a plebeian family, Marius rose to power due to his military talent and political skill, becoming a central figure in the Roman Republic. His career began during the Cimbrian War, 113 to 101 BC, when he was appointed consul in 107 BC to confront the threat posed by the Germanic tribes. Marius distinguished himself by defeating the Cimbri and Teutones, culminating in the decisive victory at Vercelli, 101 BC, ensuring the security of Rome and solidifying his reputation as a military leader. In addition to his military victories, Marius is remembered for his reforms of the Roman army. Prior to his intervention, the Roman army was composed primarily of landowners. Marius allowed landless plebeians, known as the Capitae Censi, to enlist, creating a professional army that was better trained and more effective. He also introduced voluntary recruitment and the provision of equipment to soldiers, significantly enhancing the strength and combat capability of Rome. Politically, Marius was elected consul an unprecedented 7 times, setting a record in the Roman Republic. However, his reforms and growing power created a rivalry with Lucius Cornelius Sulla, who represented the aristocratic faction. The dispute between the two culminated in a civil war, and Marius was forced into exile. However, he returned to power, only to die in 86 BC before the civil war was resolved. Marius's legacy is mixed. While he revolutionized the Roman army and led Rome to military victories, his political rivalries and the instability he fostered contributed to the weakening of the Republic, paving the way for the rise of the Roman Empire. His impact on Roman history remains indisputable, both for the reforms he implemented and the victories he secured. Lucius Cornelius Sulla, 138 to 78 BC, was one of the most influential and controversial generals in ancient Rome. Born into an aristocratic family but with humble origins, Sulla built his career through military victories and bold political moves that changed the course of Roman history. Sulla first gained prominence during the Social War, 91 to 88 BC, a conflict between Rome and its Italian allies seeking Roman citizenship. He played a key role in the Roman victory, particularly in the Battle of Asculum, 89 BC, where he demonstrated demonstrated his leadership and strategic skills. This victory positioned him as one of Rome's top commanders. His rise to power, however, occurred dramatically during the First Roman Civil War, 88 to 87 BC, after being appointed to lead Roman forces against Mithridates VI of Pontus. When the Senate decided to transfer command to his rival Gaius Marius, Sulla marched on Rome with his army, becoming the first general to invade the city. He deposed Marius and his allies and assumed command of the Roman forces. After his victory at Orchomenus, 85 BC, where he defeated Mithridates, Sulla returned to Rome and was named dictator for life. During his rule, he implemented significant reforms, including expanding the Senate and weakening the power of the popular assemblies. However, his rise to power was also marked by a series of proscriptions, a campaign of political violence in which many of his enemies were killed or exiled. Sulla voluntarily retired from power in 79 BC, after ensuring that his reforms were consolidated. His abdication was seen as an unexpected move considering his autocratic rule. However, his withdrawal did not bring stability to the Roman Republic, which would soon be shaken by new power struggles, ultimately leading to the rise of Julius Caesar. Sulla died in 78 BC, leaving behind a legacy of great military skill, but also a ruthless government whose political reforms and military strategies would continue to influence the history of Rome. Gnaeus Pompeius Magnus, 106 to 48 BC, was one of the most notable generals and politicians of ancient Rome, whose career had a profound impact on the final decades of the Roman Republic. Born into an equestrian family, Pompey demonstrated great military skill from a young age, gaining recognition as a commander and strategist. His political rise was swift, and he earned the title Magnus, Great, after a series of military victories that solidified his fame. Pompey first distinguished himself by combating the pirates of the Mediterranean, a growing threat to Roman trade and security. In 67 BC, he was given command of a fleet of 120,000 soldiers and 500 ships. With an effective strategy, he destroyed the pirates in record time, establishing Roman control over the Mediterranean waters. This success earned him popularity and support from the Senate, which appointed him to lead several important campaigns. In addition to his fight against the pirates, Pompey played a central role in the war against King Mithridates VI of Pontus. He was responsible for defeating the enemy in several battles, which resulted in the conquest of eastern territories for Rome, including Asia Minor and Syria. His victory ensured the Roman expansion in the east, securing him immense wealth and prestige. Pompey also formed the First Triumvirate in 60 BC, a political alliance with Julius Caesar and Crassus, which gave him significant control over political and military matters in the Roman Republic. However, tensions with Caesar began to arise, particularly after the death of Julia, Caesar's wife and Pompey's daughter, which weakened the alliance. The rivalry with Caesar culminated in the Civil War, 49 to 45 BC, where Pompey, supported by the Senate, opposed Caesar. The decisive battle took place at Pharsalus in 48 BC, where Pompey was defeated. After his defeat, he fled to Egypt, where he was murdered by Pharaoh Ptolemy XIII, who feared Pompey's growing power. Pompey the Great is remembered as one of the greatest Roman generals, whose victories helped expand the empire and establish its dominance over the Mediterranean. His career, marked by significant accomplishments and political tragedies, reflects the complexities of the Roman Republic and the struggle for power among its leaders. His story still resonates as an example of military leadership and political ambition. Gaius Julius Caesar, 100 to 44 BC, is widely regarded as one of the most remarkable figures in Roman history, and his legacy endures as one of the greatest military and political leaders of all time. Born into a patrician family with political ties, Caesar began his career in the army and quickly distinguished himself for his courage and strategic skill. Throughout his life, he not only expanded Rome's territory, but also revolutionized the politics and power structure of the Roman Republic. Caesar's greatest achievement was his military campaign in Gaul, 58 to 50 BC, where, through a series of decisive battles, he managed to subjugate the entire region, extending the Roman Empire to the Rhine River and the English Channel. His victory in Gaul not only solidified his position as one of the greatest commanders in history, but also granted him immense military power, which would eventually conflict with the interests of the Roman aristocracy. In 49 BC, Caesar crossed the Rubicon, a symbolic act that sparked a civil war against the Roman Senate and his rival Pompey. His famous command, Alea iacta est, the die is cast, reflects the determination with which he faced the internal war, a move that ultimately made him the dictator of Rome. After defeating Pompey and his allies, Caesar became the absolute ruler of Rome. As dictator, he implemented a series of political, social, and economic reforms. He initiated the calendar reform, which would lead to the creation of the Julian calendar, used used for centuries. He also reformed the Roman power structure, concentrating power in his hands and weakening the aristocracy, laying the foundation for the Roman Empire. However, his concentration of power and reforms generated growing opposition. In 44 BC, Caesar was assassinated in a conspiracy led by members of the Senate, including Brutus, his close friend. His death marked the end of the Roman Republic and the beginning of a series of conflicts that would lead to the rise of the Roman Empire, with his adopted heir, Octavian, becoming the first emperor. The impact of Julius Caesar is undeniable. He not only expanded Rome's borders but also transformed the course of Roman history, establishing the foundations for the future rise of the empire. Marcus Antonius, 83 to 30 BC, was one of the most intriguing and influential figures of ancient Rome, whose life was marked by his strategic ability, loyalty to Julius Caesar, and his involvement in the political tensions that defined the end of the Roman Republic. Born into a patrician family, Marcus Antonius first distinguished himself as a military commander during Julius Caesar's campaigns, particularly in Gaul and the civil war against Pompey. When Caesar was assassinated in 44 BC, Marcus Antonius became the primary defender of Caesar's legacy and one of the leaders of Caesar's faction. His alliance with Caesar's adopted son, Octavian, and with Lepidus resulted in the formation of the Second Triumvirate, a pact that divided power in Rome. Marcus Antonius was assigned to govern the eastern part of the empire, which gave him authority over Egypt, Greece, and other strategically important provinces. During his reign, Marcus Antonius became known for his alliance and romance with Cleopatra, the Queen of Egypt. His relationship with her created tensions with Octavian, who saw the connection as a threat to his power. This rivalry culminated in the famous Battle of Actium in 31 BC, where Marcus Antonius and Cleopatra's fleet was defeated by Octavian's forces. The blow was devastating for Marcus Antonius, who, heartbroken by the defeat and facing imminent death, returned to Egypt where, alongside Cleopatra, he is dead in 30 BC. Marcus Antonius was a polarizing figure. On one hand, he was admired for his military skills and his ability to command armies on multiple fronts. On the other, his personal life, marked by his relationships with Cleopatra and his conflicts with Octavian, made him a symbol of the struggle for power and the decay of the Roman Republic. His legacy endures as a blend of military greatness and personal tragedy, reflecting the complex political dynamics of his time. His death not only marked the end of his political path, but also solidified Octavian's dominance, who later became Emperor Augustus, inaugurating the Roman Empire. The story of Marcus Antonius is one of passion, betrayal, and power, a key milestone in Rome's transition from a declining republic to the unstoppable empire that would dominate the ancient world. Marcus Vipsanius Agrippa, 63 to 12 BCE, was a key figure in Roman history, known for his military victories, his close relationship with Emperor Augustus, and his reforms that helped solidify imperial power. Born into a non-aristocratic family, Agrippa stood out for his strategic ability, becoming one of Rome's most important generals. Agrippa began his military career alongside his longtime friend, Octavian, later Emperor Augustus, during the struggle for control of Rome against Mark Antony and Queen Cleopatra. Agrippa's first major victory came at the Battle of Actium, 31 BCE, where he commanded the Roman fleet and defeated Antony and Cleopatra's forces. This victory was crucial for Octavian, who, after becoming Emperor Augustus, relied heavily on Agrippa, not only as a military commander but also as an administrator capable of leading the empire's reforms. Agrippa played a central role in the construction of Rome, overseeing public works, including the construction of aqueducts and the renovation of major buildings. He was also key in developing Rome's port system, including the port of Civitavecchia, ensuring security and facilitating trade throughout the empire. Additionally, Agrippa was responsible for promoting the Romanization of the provinces, bringing stability and prosperity to many parts of the empire. Politically, Agrippa was instrumental in stabilizing Augustus's government. He served as consul several times and played an active role in the administration of the empire, being one of the chief figures in maintaining order in the provinces. In recognition of his accomplishments, Agrippa was tasked with ensuring imperial succession after Augustus's death, serving as the guardian of the emperor's adopted children. Agrippa's life is a testament to loyalty, courage, and administrative skill. His military prowess and ability to build a stronger and more prosperous empire make him one of the most significant figures in the transition from the Roman Republic to the empire. Although he never became emperor, his influence helped shape the future future of Rome for generations to come. Germanicus Julius Caesar, 15 BCE, 19 CE, was one of the greatest generals of ancient Rome and a central figure in the Julio-Claudian dynasty. The son of Nero Claudius Drusus and grandson of Augustus Caesar, Germanicus had an impressive military career, marked by significant victories and unmatched strategic skill. Germanicus rose to prominence through his campaigns in Germania, where his bravery and leadership skills made him a military legend. In 14 CE, following the death of Augustus, Germanicus was appointed commander of the Roman forces in northern Europe. He faced the Germanic tribes that had inflicted a humiliating defeat on the Romans in the Battle of the Teutoburg Forest, 9 CE, where 3 Roman legions were annihilated. In a series of subsequent campaigns, Germanicus not only restored Rome's honor, but also dealt a decisive blow to the Germanic tribes responsible for that defeat. In 16 CE, Germanicus led a victorious campaign in Germania, where his bold and well-planned tactics forced the Germanic tribes to retreat. He inflicted heavy losses, recovering several standards lost in the Teutoburg disaster. The victory culminated in the reconstruction of the Roman legions, restoring the Roman people's confidence in the strength of the empire. In 17 CE, Germanicus made an impressive crossing of the Rhine River, facing local tribes and securing the safety of the Roman provinces. His ability to inspire and lead his men made him extremely popular among the troops, which garnered him unwavering support. In addition to his victorious campaigns, Germanicus was also a skilled diplomat, securing important alliances between the peoples of Rome and its allies, such as the tribes of Gaul and Britain. However, in 19 CE, his career was abruptly cut short. After returning to Rome following a diplomatic mission, Germanicus died under mysterious circumstances, with many believing he was poisoned by orders from his rival, Emperor Tiberius. Germanicus's death was a devastating blow to the Roman Empire. His popularity among the people and his military achievements secured him an eternal place in Roman history. After his death, Germanicus's legacy was perpetuated, and he became a symbol of courage and devotion to Rome, remembered as one of the greatest generals in Roman military history. Gnaeus Julius Agricola, 40 to 93 CE, was one of the most prominent Roman generals of the Julio-Claudian dynasty, known for his successful campaigns in Britain and for consolidating Roman presence in the region. Born into an aristocratic family, Agricola received a rigorous military education and stood out early in various campaigns, earning recognition for his cunning and courage. During the reign of Emperor Vespasian, Agricola was sent to Britain, where he assumed command of the Roman forces. His mission was to subdue the native tribes and expand Roman dominance in the region. Not only did he face warrior tribes like the Caledonians in present-day Scotland, but he also implemented a series of reforms that facilitated Romanization, such as the construction of roads, forts, and cities modeled after Roman styles. Throughout his campaign, Agricola established over 1,300 miles of roads and built at least 60 forts, solidifying Roman control over the island. In his most famous victory, he defeated the Germanic tribes and the local kingdoms to the north of Britain, ensuring Roman control of the region. In 83 CE, Agricola marched to the northern part of Scotland, where he fought decisive battles, further expanding Roman influence. He also conquered the island of Anglesey, a stronghold of Celtic resistance, and expanded Roman military and political presence in the area. Agricola encouraged the construction of cities in the Roman style and, as part of his integration policy, had the children of local nobility educated according to Roman standards. His vision of a Romanized Britain was a milestone for the empire. However, his career and popularity attracted the envy of the imperial court. In 85 CE, Agricola was called back to Rome, with rumors suggesting that Emperor Domitian feared his growing power. Agricola withdrew from public life and spent the rest of his days in relative obscurity, dying in 93 CE. Agricola's legacy, however, endures. His conquest of Britain solidified Rome's position as a dominant power in northern Europe, and his name remains associated with the expansion and stabilization of the Roman Empire in one of its most challenging regions. His courage, military skill, and strategic vision are celebrated as examples of excellence in Roman military leadership. Nero Claudius Drusus, also known as Drusus the Elder, was one of the most distinguished Roman generals at the end of the Roman Republic and the beginning of the Roman Empire, and one of the greatest conquerors of his time. Born in 38 BCE, he was the son of Emperor Tiberius and the grandson of Augustus, and from a young age, he demonstrated remarkable military skill. His career was marked by notable victories and the crucial role he played in expanding the Roman Empire's borders, particularly in the regions of Germania Germania and beyond the Rhine River. Drusus began his military career in his youth and quickly gained recognition for his courage and skill on the battlefield. In 12 BCE, he was tasked with a series of military campaigns in Germania, where he led the Roman victory against the Germanic tribes. His successful campaign consolidated Roman dominance over the local tribes and made Drusus the first Roman commander to cross the Rhine River into the interior of Germania, advancing as far as the Elbe River. In 9 BCE, Drusus further expanded Roman territory by defeating the Usipetes and the Tencteri, two Germanic tribes that had been troublesome for Rome. His success in the north was crucial for strengthening the Roman presence on the empire's borders, establishing bases and fortifications that helped secure Roman control over the region. Drusus also demonstrated strategic and political acumen by commanding victories not only on land, but also in naval campaigns against the Germanic tribes attacking the Roman coasts on the North Sea. However, his life was cut short in 9 BCE when, during a campaign, he fell from his horse and sustained fatal injuries. At just 29 years old, he died before reaching the peak of his career, but his death left a profound mark on the Roman Empire, and he was mourned for his achievements. The memory of Drusus has been preserved through his heroic deeds. The Drusus stone, erected in his honor, is a symbol of his historical significance and his role in building the Roman Empire. Furthermore, his family continued to thrive with the succession of his son, Germanicus, who would also become a central figure in Roman military history. Drusus is remembered not only for his military achievements, but also as a key figure in the expansion of the Roman Empire and the foundation of a lasting legacy of military strength and strategic leadership. As presented, the greatest Roman generals played crucial roles in the building and preservation of the Roman Empire, whose achievements shaped world history. Their military strategies, unwavering courage, and visionary leadership not only expanded the Roman domains, but also left legacies of tactical and military innovation that influenced generations. These men, with their victories and challenges, exemplified the spirit of Rome, becoming legends whose stories continue to inspire to this day. The greatness of their deeds echoes as a landmark in the history of humanity.